All right, on this video, I'm going over the comprehension questions for the story for this week, Seeing Things His Own Way. Okay, number 1 says, use details from the author's perspective chart that you completed in Google Classroom to describe how the author feels about Eric Weihenmayer's accomplishments. Explain how the selection would change if the author felt differently about his subject. So the first part of this question, you're basically, you should have already completed your author's perspective chart, and you're going to say, well, based on completing the author's perspective chart, I feel like the author feels this way about Eric. I know this because the author says things like this and this about Eric, so he obviously feels this way about Eric, something like that. But then there is a second part. Explain how the selection would change if the author felt differently about his subject. So how would this story be different if the author didn't like Eric? Okay, if the author thought Eric was trying to brag about what he was able to accomplish, would the author's writing, would the story maybe sound a little different? What would be different? Or if the author felt different other ways about Eric, okay, how would that change how the story was written? Okay. Number 2, of all Eric Weihenmayer's accomplishments, which do you find the most inspiring? So you just go through the text, decide which thing he did that you think is the most impressive and the most inspiring to you, and then just give your reasoning. Why do you feel that way? Why do you think that is the most inspiring thing that he did? So as long as you support your answer, give me the why and support it, this is really your opinion. Okay. Number 3, think about a time when you overcame a difficulty. What obstacles did you encounter? How did your experience contribute to your maturity? So this again is an individual thing. For me, I'm still overcoming the passing of my, best friend and my cousin Brian. So that's been very, very difficult for me. What obstacles have I encountered? Well, really just trying to cope with the idea that I'll never see him again, that I won't be able to share in laughter with him, and I just keep coming back to thinking about all these good times that have been robbed of me for the rest of my life. And that's the hardest part for me, is I keep coming back. It's kind of a selfish thought, but I just keep coming back to all these. He made me laugh so much, and I had so much fun with him, and with him being gone, it just feels like my life is going to be a little less happy because he brought so much happiness to it. So that's kind of the biggest obstacle for me. Now, how has this contributed to my maturity? Well, I'm dealing with it. I'm figuring out that, life does still go on. There are still happy times. I look at my kids, and I know that they're going to be bringing me so much joy. They already are bringing me so much joy. And those are, my kids are 2 people that weren't even in my life 2 years ago. So while I am missing a big chunk of joy with the passing of Brian, I have gained huge chunks of joy in the births of my 2 children. So that has definitely contributed to me looking at life a little differently, appreciating all the relationships that I have with different people, the different friendships I have, and really being able to enjoy the good times. Okay, number 4, what above all is the message of seeing things his own way? Use references from the text to support your answer. So this is kind of like, what is the theme? This is very similar to asking, what is the theme? What are they trying to tell us? What is the author trying to tell us? Now, I believe the author is trying to tell us that no matter what obstacles we face, with hard work and perseverance, we can overcome those obstacles. Now, if you agree with me, that's great. That's perfectly okay, and you can use that. But now you have to go back to your text and find evidence to support that answer. So go back in the text and give examples of when the author was showing how hard work and perseverance helped Eric overcome a particular obstacle. Okay, be specific. What page, what paragraph did you find, and what did the text say? Okay, number 5, go back and reread Bethany Hamilton's comeback on pages 374 and 375. If Bethany Hamilton were to meet Eric Weihenmayer, what do you think they might discuss with each other? Use information from the two texts to help support your reasoning. So this is an opinion. What do you think they might discuss? But you do need to use information from the two texts to support your reasoning. So you may say, oh, I think they would talk about this. I think they would talk about this because in the story Bethany Hamilton's comeback, she mentioned this, and in the story Seeing Things His Own Way, Eric also mentioned that, and so that's something the two have in common, so I think they would talk about that. Okay, so that's an example. Now, what that is that they're talking about, that's up to you. All right. Hope this helped, and I will see you on the next video. Again, if you have any additional questions, please raise your hand.